Last time I challenged one of the biggest ideas in personal finance. Retirement isn't an age, it's a math problem. Today, I want to challenge another belief. I think that the real estate industry has accidentally trained us all to ask the wrong first question. That question is, does it cash flow? By how much? Is it positive? Is it negative? And I understand why we ask it because cash flow does matter. But I don't think that's where the conversation should end. I think that that's where the conversation begins. Let me show you why. Imagine I offered you two different businesses. The first thing that we have to look at is today's cash flow. Business number one makes $100 a month. Business number two requires $700 a month in investment. Let's be honest. Most people would stop right there and they'd immediately choose business number one. Why? Because today's cash flow looks better. But I don't stop there. I want one more piece of information. I want to know about growth. How fast is this income going to grow? Because today's cash flow tells me where I am today. It doesn't tell me where I'm going. Let's say business number one improves by $100 a month every single year. Well, that's not bad. Now, let's say business number two improves by $200 per month every single year. I'm going to bring in the whiteboard. Let's get this all drawn out here. So we have business one making $100 a month. We have business two at $700 a month in parentheses. That means that we are on a negative. It requires our money, right? So if this one year over year goes to 200 and then 300 and then 400, so we could just easily go down the line and know how much we expect for this business to make. So now we're at 9 years. But what if this business grows by 200? So then we're in parentheses. We're still in parentheses. We're still in parentheses. And then we go positive. And positive by 300. And positive by 500. And positive by 700. And positive by 900. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what I've really identified is that in year 9, these two businesses they're projecting to make the same amount of income as each other, right? The difference is that this one, I'm going to start a new column up here so that we can have the room to work with. This one, years 10, so this is the 10 year and beyond, and this is the 10 year and beyond. So this one's going to go to 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300. This one in the same 4 years is going to go 1,100, 1,300, 1,500, and 1,700. Do you see we're outpacing? Now, we're still not ready to make that decision, not by a long stretch, because when I did the math at the 30-year point, these guys were pretty much about the same if you take the positive cash flow and invest it in the S&P 500. These two properties at the 30-year point are both they both built about $2 million accounts. But if you roll it on to year 45, so now we're talking about I'm 45 years old, that would put me at 90, right? Business number two is much better off. But because business number one had the positive cash flow going into the market sooner, all of those 9 years to get there, right? To get to where they're even. Now, at this point, if I'm going to retire before the 30-year point, I would have to say business number one. If I don't have $700 a month to invest in owning this new business number two, then I have to choose business number one. But if I'm 30 years old and I'm okay with building an account past the 30-year point, so I'm going to retire at 35, 40, 45 years of ownership, I would pick business number two all day long because it outpaces the market. And if you think about it like this, all of this negative equity, the 700, the 500, the 300, and the 100, if you were to take that money and put it into the S&P 500 instead of investing it in this business, you would have $1.2 million respectively. I'm not a CPA. I don't promise any results. I'm just basing this video on exactly what we can assume happened in the past, what happened in the future on that performance stuff, right? So let me get back into what this is going on. So let me ask you the question again. Which of these two businesses would you rather own? And that's another thing too. What about I'm happy to live in the property, or I love owning the property? What if business one isn't something you'd be happy with and love owning? What if business number two is something you'd be happy with and love owning? Then you just go back to, can I afford it? Right? So you see, nothing changes about the businesses. The only thing that changes is the question. Most people ask, what does it make today? Where it makes $100 a month and it makes $700 and it keeps $700, it takes $700. I ask, what is the $700 investment going to become, right? And how does it serve me? That's the question that changed my life, because I realized I wasn't trying to buy today's cash flow. I'm trying to build tomorrow's independence. I call that moment the turning point. The turning point is the day an asset no longer needs your personal finances from your paycheck that you go to work really hard for. So business two is asking you for your money that you go to work for. Business one is providing its own income from day one. Everybody wants to go to business one, but a lot of people are shying away or saying no to businesses and properties and income producing assets that can really change their life for the better, not just financially. So this is a financial tool that we can use to help us make the decisions that are right for us. So the moment that any business, like business two, supports itself, builds its own reserves, and takes care of its own assets, that's the turning point. The turning point is the day that your paycheck gets its freedom back, that you are free to enjoy your paycheck, knowing that you've got one of these businesses, the cash flow is going to your retirement account. Not because you got lucky and not because the market exploded like it did back in COVID times, right? It's not because somebody overpaid because you sold it to them for a high price. It's because the math changed. That's it. The math changes. Think about every successful business you've ever seen. Almost none of them were profitable on day one. You have a lot of businesses that will lose money, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're billionaires. And now we have our first trillionaire off of somebody who operates that way. Nobody expected these businesses to make money on day one. Everyone understood that there would be a season where the owner needs to support that business. Then on one day, the business stood on its own. It took care of itself. And why don't we think about assets the same way that we think about businesses? We've convinced ourselves that if an asset isn't immediately going to produce cash flow, then it must be a bad investment. I don't believe that at all. Not at all. So many people buy so much real estate for their families to live in that they inflate the price because of their enjoyment of the properties, right? We should want those properties. Those are the best properties. People are paying the most for them. They're obviously in great neighborhoods. They're obviously really enjoyable to live in. Why wouldn't we want that asset to make us money? It's not a bad investment if it doesn't cash flow. It doesn't always mean it. Now, not every investment's a good investment, and I don't believe that it is. I believe that every asset is somewhere on the timeline. On one end of this timeline, you have to support owning this asset. On the other side of the timeline, it will support you. And I say take that support, put it into retirement funds, S&P 500, stuff like that, that grows at 9% to 12% year over year. Everything in between you supporting the asset and the asset standing on its own is the journey to the turning point. Now, here's the part that really excites me, though. For most of your life, you've been investing money that you worked hard to earn. Every paycheck, another contribution, another sacrifice, another piece of your life. You spent your life at work and took that life money, life blood, and put it to your retirement. It didn't increase your quality of life today at all. What if that doesn't have to be the plan? What if your paycheck only has one job? To help you in getting your assets to the turning point. Because once the asset's at the turning point, everything changes. Your paycheck gets its freedom back. The asset no longer needs your earned income that you spend your time earning. Now the asset begins earning income itself. Someone else is going to work and they're earning the money and they're taking the money that they earn and they're paying you to rent 4 walls and a roof for 30 days. That revenue flows into your asset. The funds go to the mortgage, the maintenance, all of everything, and then build your reserves. And then the access to wealth is in the excess of the cash flow that you don't need for all of the maintenance and whatnot. That's going to build your retirement. Your paycheck doesn't have to build your retirement anymore when you have an asset that will do it for you. Think about that. Your retirement is no longer funded by your life, by your time, by your lifeblood. It's being funded by assets that you've already built. Now, let me talk to another group of people. Maybe you're thinking, Danny, I need every dollar I make. I understand that. Millions of Americans feel the exact same way. We have so much credit card debt out there right now that people don't even have enough money to get by and put away for their retirement. They're spending all of their money and some. Every dollar that they earn has already been designated for a purpose. It's going to that bill, it's paying for the groceries, medical, so on and so forth, right? That's exactly why so many people never invest. They're told that they have to choose, enjoy their life today or prepare for retirement that's eventually going to come. I reject that choice. I don't want it. I don't want to play in it. So what if the sacrifice wasn't forever? What if it was temporary? What if it was calculated? Before you ever bought the asset, exactly how much of your paycheck it's going to need has been calculated. How long is it going to need it? You see, it needs 700 and then 500 and then 300 and then 100. And then it starts paying you. And when you expected it to give you, when can you expect it to give you your paycheck back? That's why I built the calc. The calc isn't designed to tell you whether an investment is good or bad. It simply answers the more important question. How much of my paycheck will this asset likely require? How long is it going to require it? And when do I expect to get my paycheck back? That's not guessing. That's not hoping. That's mathematics. And here's what I believe. The goal isn't cash flow. The goal isn't appreciation. The goal isn't owning the most amount of properties ever. The goal is creating a self-sustaining set of assets that eventually return your paycheck to you so that you can enjoy it now while you are working and get everything to where it's paying you past the turning point. I believe it's the single most important concept in the MicroBillionaire system. I'm Danny Barker. This is MicroBillionaire. Remember, buy what is affordable, be happy living there, love owning it, run the calc, reach the turning point, and repeat. In the next video, I'm going to share the 3 rules that determine every purchase that I make and can help you determine yours. Because if an asset can't pass those 3 rules, it probably doesn't deserve your paycheck in the first place. I'll see you on the next video.